nearing the end. We're on episode 27. I don't know what I was doing there. This is the 7th Amityville film in the franchise, Amityville: A New Generation.
Yes, sir.
The end of this series, the end of us, or the end of the world? Which end is it? Could be all.
Could be all at once, as I say.
It could be. We've been Amityville out this month.
Amityville out for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Amityville: A New Generation. This was 93, directed by John Morlowski.
The man who would later grace us with the Hulk Hogan Christmas movie, Santa with Muscles.
I've never seen it.
Neither have I. I've seen reviews of it, but just the sentence.
I've seen it once a long time ago. It's decent. I mean, it's not as good as No Holds Barred, but it's probably better than Suburban Commando. So.
What about Mr. Nanny?
And a whole...
maybe on par with Mr. Nanny.
He also gave us a whole shit ton of TV movies. That's...
I mean, I ain't even thought about Three Ninjas with the Three Ninja movie with Hulk Hogan, though, because that one's...
That's not
another level, too.
And then there's Cruel Jaws. No, I'm just kidding.
Cruel Jaws.
Cruel Jaws.
Later. We'll get to it later. Another day.
Oh, that's the
we will get to it. If I had to do these movies, we are going to do Cruel Jaws at some point. It's going to be down the line.
You gotta wait the next summer and do Jaws movies.
Don't tempt us.
I might be down with that.
I might be down with that. I have to get hold of 2 through 4, but yeah. And I have to get Cruel Jaws soon, but yeah.
Like 2 through 4 are like $5 a piece for Blu-ray on Amazon.
Exactly. You can get them on DVD for the same price, basically.
Go to Walmart and get them all in one big...
That's what I mean, a collection, yeah. I almost bought that a week ago or two.
Yeah. But today, it's Amityville: A New Generation.
Yes, sir.
Or
the most,
the artsy hipster Amityville.
Yeah. Isn't it also, would you say, the most star-studded? In terms of horror fandom? Because you got
David Naughton.
O'Quinn. You got David Naughton from American Werewolf in London. You got Terry O'Quinn, so John Locke from Lost and The Stepfather.
Sure.
You've got Richard Roundtree, Shaft himself. You got Lynn Shay.
Oh, that's right, Lynn Shay's in this.
Yeah, Lynn Shay with some serious Harley Quinn energy. That was my thought. Serious Harley Quinn energy. I would have paid good money for a Harley Quinn movie to have been made in the 90s if Lynn Shay could have played the role.
The leading guy is like a bootleg Brendan Fraser, isn't he?
Yeah. I guess you could call him that.
Mm-hmm.
It says I don't know what role he has, but I'm assuming Ross Partridge is the main guy. And it says he's in Stranger Things.
I don't recognize him in Stranger Things, although...
So I don't know.
And I'm a big fan of Stranger Things, unless I'm just missing something obvious.
I mean, they say it's starring him, so I don't know. Maybe they're kind of half-truthing on that in the back of the box.
Yeah, I don't remember him from Stranger Things, but this does have Julia Nixon in it, who is the poor man's Shannon Daughtery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Would you say
she's trying real hard.
I liked her, although we'll get into it, but I do wonder about fashion. One of the things we'll talk about a lot in this movie is it does mention on the back of this it is distinctly early 90s flavored. Yeah, specifically in the fashion. Holy fuck. In this movie and the hair. It says he plays Lonnie Byers on Stranger Things. I know nothing. Chuck, anything?
No, I was looking up the dude's like, he plays somebody's dad, I think, in Stranger Things. The main guy does.
Will's dad.
I just don't remember. Yeah, okay, yeah. It's been a while since I've seen that, so there it is. I was investigating that. I didn't get to see the rest of it.
I only know that because of the name.
As we said, star-studded. Also, as they want to point out a million times on the back of the case, and in the special features, I think at least twice, once in the interview with the director and once in the interview with the producer. This is also cinematography by Wally Pfister, who is apparently doing a shit ton of independent horror before Christopher Nolan found him and made him do cinematography for Dark Knight, Dark Knight Rises, Batman Begins, and he won an Oscar for Inception. And this is where he started, in that area.
You can only go up.
Exactly.
Well, you got to start somewhere.
Again, you might be surprised how I feel about this one. But anyway. So who wants to do your standard plot synopsis of the artsy Amityville?
Chuck, you want to do it?
Yeah, okay. So a group of artsy
Wow.
friends. Okay. They're hanging out in. Is this still in Amityville? Is this still Amityville, New York?
Back of the case claims it is LA's Skid Row.
Okay, they're in LA.
Yeah.
Okay, so the one guy, the lead guy's taking photography, sees a bum outside. For some reason, he's drawn to him, takes a picture of him, wants to go give him some money for taking a picture of him, and he's gifted with the mirror that you find on the front of this case here, which just so happens to be from Amityville, I assume. And thus, the fun begins, right?
Basically.
Yeah. But of course, we realize there's twists and turns, and the bum may not just be a bum.
Mm-hmm.
He may have a connection to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So, there you go. Can't say much more because it spoils it if you don't want to spoil
basically.
that. But, you know, the picture goes to, or the mirror, I should say, goes to their friend's location, and weird stuff starts happening, and then as it gets moved on, more weird stuff starts happening.
They mention in one of the features that they wanted, instead of it being like, they were trying to go a different direction with this one in a way. So instead of it being a family, like an actual family, they kind of wanted a familial group. So basically, like, instead of it actually being a family, it's an artist collective, basically.
Well, they all live in the same building.
Yeah.
That's true. I was impressed by the way that they tied it back to Amityville, though. I will say that without getting too much into the spoilerific section of this one. It is kind of clever in that regard.
Yes.
Some of the kills here are pretty interesting. I mean, you see some of them coming, like the dancing demon thing and all that stuff. You see where it's probably going. I don't know. Like
it's something the host went to the school of setting up for later.
The cast itself, I think, is okay. Even bootleg Brendan Fraser here, he's all right. I think, I don't know. It's a little too cute the way it wraps itself up, I guess, in some ways, because, I mean, is it clever? Yes, in a way, because it gets you out of Amityville, but it still brings Amityville to the situation. But things just seem to fall into place a little too smoothly at times. And I feel like we go extra mile out of the way just to get back to the same result. Like the scene where one of our characters goes to the insane asylum, right? That's a very elaborate setup to show us what it's going to show us. You see what I'm saying?
I mean, for the story they want to tell, it fits the story, but that also doesn't necessarily mean it had to have it. I mean, my thing is, Amityville 2, we said, was basically Amityville plus Exorcist.
Yeah.
And, Amityville, I think we were talking 5, we said it was Amityville plus Slasher, sort of. This is Amityville plus police procedural.
Yeah.
Basically.
But it's like the thing where I thought it overcomplicated itself a little bit is like he goes there to the insane asylum and he could just remember stuff as in one way and be done with it, but he's in somebody's body and then he's back to his old body, and it's just a lot of flipping around. And let's not forget the makeup job there on the character that is to be who he's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a little hokey in some spots.
It is.
But still entertaining though. Like I did not get bored with it. I just thought it kind of went out of its way to make things a little more complex than it had to be.
Well, it's not a boring film like some of the other Amityville films have been. And as you said, all the actors are great in it. I kind of liked all the characters, which is shocking for me. I think the whole art thing, it's fine. Like
it's all about how you do it.
I don't have anything against it. A lot of the artwork is really cool. Shaft is an odd one in this.
But he has the best art piece that is not related to the story.
Well, sure.
That is the best art piece in the movie.
So I really, like, with this collective of friends, I was like, man, and, they go to the coffee shop a couple of times. I was like, this is, like, totally fucking ripping off Friends.
Well, that's the thing.
It came out before Friends.
This is the most 90s of them, and they're not wrong. What I mean by that is, like, not just in this intro, they keep going to the coffee house. It's also David Naughton's wardrobe designer in this movie apparently decided that he needed to have the logo for every single 90s company on him at some point. Like, he doesn't look like he was actually dressed by someone for a movie. He just looks like he came into the set one day wearing a Massimo shirt and was like, fuck it, let's shoot. You know what I mean? It's,
He probably
there's
did.
that. It probably did. And there's moments in the script that are, the script is generally pretty good, but there's moments like there's a scene where they're talking about what scares them. And I believe, I've got parts of the line here. It's in order, he says, rent and Republicans and the American family. And it's like there's a lot of, the way it's written does definitely feel very like hipster 90s, and they do what they do for a very specific reason. It feels that way. It's like, it's very much, as weird as it sounds, it's probably the most dated to me. And there's movies in this franchise from the 70s, and it feels the most dated to me.
Sure. Well, it definitely is the most dated, because everything that they do in this was very trendy, very popular at the time.
I was comparing, I didn't expect to be able to compare this. I know probably Chuck has seen it, but Velvet Buzzsaw,
Yes.
the Netflix movie, yes. I was comparing this to Velvet Buzzsaw a lot. There was also an Asian movie my wife and I found once on YouTube called Vampire Clay. It was from a few years ago, and it's about like clay that is sentient and cursed, but it's also like subtextually about how hard it is to get successful in the Asian art industry in like China or Japan or Hong Kong. All of these, I did not expect that in my Amityville movie. Basically, that kind of idea, the art world commentary. I'm not mad about it. It makes sense. It fits well, but
Velvet Buzzsaw was awesome.
Velvet Buzzsaw is great.
What is it? It's on Netflix? I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
It's Jake Gyllenhaal, John Malkovich. There's a woman whose name I can't freaking remember, but it's big star. I can't remember. I think I can't remember who it is, but Sharon Stone, I think, is what it is. I could be wrong on that one.
I don't
basically,
remember. I'm bad with names anyway.
It's this movie where there's a whole bunch of artists, and there's this one painter who gets killed. I know we're switching to a different movie, but I'll give a quick one. Painter dies. All of his paintings kind of cause people to kind of slowly lose their minds when they look at them. And there's a lot of really interesting deaths in it, a lot of really interesting kills, but it also has, much like this, a lot of we're going to have commentary about the art world and criticism in it and things like that. It's good. It's flawed, but it's good. It's worth a look, Chuck.
So which
Got
one
some
are
cool
you guys
kills in it.
calling
There
the
you go.
bootleg Shannon Doherty, like the Yuki or whatever her name was? Or
Suki.
Suki.
Suki? Yeah. I can see it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
there.
I mean, it's a little more Asian.
Well, she is
I thought
Asian,
the same.
but
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
the hair, she looks, aside from being Asian, she looks identical to Shannon Doherty.
Yeah. I can see the resemblance.
And this came out, 2 years after 90210 aired? So
This is 93, so probably something like that.
2 or 3 years. I think it was either 90 or 91 when I looked it up. So that would make sense that they would want her in it, or to look like her, rather.
Sure.
Because that was the show of the time.
Well, the hair here definitely screams 90s in most of these characters in this movie.
Yeah.
And, the kills are okay for the most part. Some of them a little bit weak. I don't think they're as cool as they was in the previous movies, but the story probably makes up for it.
The CG demons they have at one point in the movie are really bad. But I will say, actually, I say that, I'd want to be clear, actually, there is no CG in this. One of the special features, the one with, I think it's the one with the director, I did not listen to the commentary on this, but I did watch the director and the writer one. The writer one's real short. But the director, he basically says that they wanted to do, a whole bunch of unique effects and go kind of for broke, but they didn't want to do anything non-practical. So they use these really elaborate techniques to do things. Like, one thing we haven't mentioned is when the mirror is the mirror, it gets this red glow inside and kind of wavy and stuff. And he talks about how in one of the special features that they set up where they were filming from one side, and they were filming from another side, and there was something else over here. All of this to make the effect that the mirror looked like that, or someone was in the mirror, or things like that. And it's definitely helpful that happens. So like when I say CG demons, it's not that they're actually CG, it just didn't quite work as well. They're real people running around dressed like demons, but how they kind of work in the movie was kind of off. But most of the stuff, yeah, it's all practical, and a lot of it is very unique practical stuff that you wouldn't kind of expect for 93.
Sure.
Good for 93.
I like the way the mirror manipulates people differently.
Yes, very much so.
I thought that was pretty cool, and like the artwork that Suki has, that there's an
Great
event that happens, and she kind of goes out of her mind a little bit, and then the mirror doesn't help her, and her artwork that comes from that is fucking awesome.
Oh, amazing! Yeah. We also didn't mention, we've been talking about the kills. One name that is in this movie that is not mentioned on the back of this is Robert Russler from Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Oh, yeah?
He's the boyfriend, the abusive boyfriend at the beginning, the drunk.
Really?
Yes.
I did not notice that.
Yes, that is him. And I mentioned that only because he has again, you mentioned crazy ways the mirror gets to people. That's a pretty damn good one.
Yes.
Well, as far as mirror horror goes, I'm not sure this one is quite on par with Mirror, which is a very underrated horror film in my opinion.
I liked Mirrors, the remake that had Kiefer Sutherland in it, but I think I'm in a minority on that. I liked it. I didn't think it was great.
I think I own it, but I've never seen it.
In a long time. I've seen it years ago, but I haven't watched it since.
I do think, I have no confirmation on this, but I do think the entire reason they went with a cursed mirror is because they wanted a line that Terry O'Quinn says at the end, after everything's resolved, where he goes, "You made a big mistake. Breaking a mirror, that's 7 years bad luck."
90s cheese.
And I was just like, that's the thing. One-liners in this movie is definitely a thing. It is 100% 90s one-liners.
What would it be without one-liners in the 90s, right?
I know, right?
Yeah. Terry O'Quinn's awesome, and I liked him in this.
But
I mean, he tends to play a cop a decent amount. So he was good. I hate how his character kind of just puts the whole plot together for you.
Yeah, he is very much no, this is what's happening. I didn't tell you this because this,
Right, and it's just like, I kind of could have done without that. I would have liked the characters to figure this out on their own rather than it be an error on someone's behalf and the police know the entire time.
Yeah, police knows the entire time, and then when you have the final sequence after you take into consideration what we witnessed before things are resolved, cops have no problem with it.
Yeah, apparently not. Yeah, he just walks in and okay. Also, if I may point out, the final sequence, I should just say, not to spoil anything, but can we all agree the girlfriend/wife, I don't even know what their relationship is, has the worst idea in human history?
Yes, she does.
For how to get over this.
But that is it gave them an excuse to put a super soaker on screen, right?
Yes, it did. 90s.
Which is also very 90s.
Yes. I had that super soaker.
I think we all did.
One thing I will say is the back of the box does say this is neon tinge. Does anybody remember any neon in this?
Nope.
I don't either. I don't know where they got that one from.
The demon paintings, maybe?
Maybe. I don't remember any of that. So at least that one thing I can say is probably not there, but everything else, yeah, they pretty much hit the nail on the head on the description.
Yeah.
I honestly thought there would be a bigger payoff at the end of this, considering that the whole thing is leading up to an art exhibit with all of the artist stuff there. So it's an open house kind of thing. There's going to be many people there. Yeah. I was expecting more out of the end, and in a lot of ways, I was very much let down by the ending.
Well, I'd like some action out of that chair, the art chair with the gun.
Absolutely. Yeah. If this would be remade today, I think it would have a different ending.
I guarantee you. I was okay with it.
Chuck, make it.
Okay.
Yes, we've established.
I'm gonna make this one now.
We're just making you a series of ideas here, okay? So that's all we are.
I'll just put them all together. I'll put them all together in one movie.
There you go. But no, one of my things I wrote in my notes, I didn't take notes on Dollhouse for later, but I did take notes on this. Is like it's like the first third I thought was like pretty good, but had some flaws. The second third I thought was okay police procedural wise, and the third was like a different movie, good but different, and because of that, it felt kind of disjointed. It still worked, but like it kind of was like that. But what that also meant was like because that second third is good, but it's a police procedural, it feels like there's a real gap in the violence because of that. And so at the end, when you get to that art exhibit, you're expecting some blow off, some huge thing that the movie just doesn't give you, basically.
Yeah.
I give it 3 out of 5.
I give it exactly the same thing.
I give it a 3 out of 5.
There we are. We synchronized this rating.
Yes.
I think there's only been, 2 that we all didn't agree on?
Well, we all agreed because we gave them about the same rating. It's just we didn't give them the same numbers.
Well, that's what I mean.
You give one like a fancy 3.2, whatever.
I gave it a 3.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I strike 0.25 from the record.
This is definitely worth a watch.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
And I continue to enjoy the Vinegar Syndrome box set more than the Scream Factory box set.
Oh, yes.
I will say so far, out of these 3 films in the Vinegar Syndrome Cursed Objects line, this is my least favorite of the 3.
Of the ones we covered so far, I will agree that this is my least favorite of the 3.
Yeah. Well, it may be mine.
But it's still better than quite a few things.
Better than that YouTube one we watched, right?
It's better than YouTube. It's better than the original.
Yep.
By far.
I think the only one that's, 3's not
Let's
better
be
than the
clear.
original.
I would say, let's be clear. I have my ranking list here. I know you don't, but my ranking list ends with 1, 3, 5. So, yeah.
There's our all cover there, which is a broken mirror.
I like that artwork more. It's just so cheesy and nostalgic looking.
It's very 90s.
My OCD won't allow me to turn the cover on this one without turning the cover on all of them. So I will
also point out, you mentioned before that if you want to make an Amityville movie, all you got to do is transpose the house on
the
something.
House.
Was
Yeah.
that not the? That was the same
speaking
shot.
Of, I guarantee you they took that from MGM. Yeah.
No. Actually, I think it was the same shot from the last one where
it's entirely possible.
The one was outside and the house changed from one house to another house.
That's the same it's the same company, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. So would you consider at least these movies are all official sequels to each other, right?
These are all supposed to be within the realm that, oh look, these things came from the Amityville house. So yes, they're technically official sequels to each other, even though they have nothing to do with each other.
Here's what bothers me about this. This is the main thing that bothers me, because we could have had almost a good synchronized series here if what our twist ended up being that was the same guy from part 2.
Oh, of course.
There
are ways they could have made this legitimately like 1, 2, 3, bam, bam, bam. Because like even the clock one, there's no real connection like to 4. It's just something else from Amityville. It's like just the same as this. This is just something else from Amityville. They could have probably made it happen. Lamps falling. Where?
Did you get it from Amityville? Is it coming after you?
Yeah.
No, I'm not Stephen King pitching a movie in Family Guy. It also is making my head look incredibly white there, so you take that away. But yeah, it could have had more of a connection. It doesn't. In some ways, it didn't need to. Like, it does its job without it, kind of thing.
Just would have been nice icing on the cake, little extra.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
But it is what it is. Which I imagine copyrights were an issue.
To some degree. I mean, one of the things I regret is that because I was running behind, I did watch Dollhouse when we get to it next episode. I did not watch the special features. And the funny thing about that is that's the only one in this set that actually has an interview with Steve White, who was the producer of all of these, because he directed Dollhouse. So I assume, because the way Vinegar Syndrome works is they basically kind of go backwards a little bit, tell you about what they did, and then go forward. I assume they would basically ask him about the whole thing, like what spawned him to start producing these movies about cursed objects in Amityville. I don't know that for sure, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that proves, again,
Amityville.
Lamps, clocks, and mirrors, they all work. Varying degrees of success, but they all work.
I still think the lamp's the coolest looking one.
Oh.
Coolest looking, yes,
Absolutely.
The clock is the more complex one.
Yes. And the
this
mirror
one-
is the cheesiest one, but it's supposed to be because it's 90s.
True. 93. A very
We'll deal with that.
I mean, can you say it doesn't look 90s? The mirror's
Oh.
design. I mean, it just does.
Very nice.
Everything.
Mm.
Yeah.
But it came from a house in the 70s.
Ooh. That I would buy that on the mirror actually. So as per usual, some news. We're gonna start with Cauldron. What? I got messaged. Oh, cool.
Now, by the time this video goes up,
Anyway,
the Cauldron news will be old news.
yes, but it's still important news, particularly for Jalo people like
Very
us.
important.
So they announced the other film of their special 2 is Sergio Pastori's 1972, The Crimes of the Black Cat. They'll be announcing details about the sales of them as we speak right now in 2 days, but by the time this goes up, it will be available for pre-order on the Cauldron Films website. So head on over to Cauldron Films, take a look at them. There'll be a link below.
I suppose we're going to be covering this one.
I'm intending for us to.
Not bad choice.
Beyond
Better send your email now to get screener copies, Chuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
Just waiting for that. I don't know the exact date, but I hear Candyman actually has a date now.
Does it?
Yes. And I'm sure it's sometime next year, obviously.
Oh, they were pushed back there anyway.
Halloween, the new Halloween movie, is going to be out next October, no matter what Jason Blum says.
Of course he did.
So even if it's digital.
August 27th, 2021.
There it is. This will be a very interesting fall for horror movies next year.
You mean the time when they're supposed to be released?
Well, they said no matter what.
No, I'm just saying, like, I love... So I was looking up some stuff. I was looking into Hocus Pocus recently, and apparently they released Hocus Pocus in fucking July originally because they didn't want to compete with Nightmare Before Christmas. And I'm like, you're
now
Disney.
Both the cult films
I was like, you're Disney. Just move it to like September.
Give it
its month, and then
Is it Nightmare Before Christmas Disney too?
It is. Yes, it's wasn't it? I think it was Touchstone, and now Touchstone is Disney.
Touchstone.
Yeah. Okay, so they own both of it.
That's why there was a big void between Tim Burton and Disney, because he took Tim Burton took Disney's money, did not direct the film, and took the film to Touchstone and had someone else direct it.
Until this podcast, I had no idea that he didn't direct it. I just assumed it was Tim Burton's movie.
You've talked about this in group chat.
We've talked about this on here.
Nobody. I mean, 9 out of 10 people that I know don't realize he didn't direct that movie.
Oh, yeah,
most people don't.
So
because I brought up the Grooms after the show because he loves Nightmare Before Christmas. Like, he didn't direct it, right? No, he directed it. Did he check the box? No, he didn't.
No, I mean, we talked about this originally in the group chat because it was about the discussion. Sorry, drop something. There about Nia Costa and Candyman, and this argument that people were making where they were saying this is not Jordan Peele's Candyman, it's Nia DaCosta's. And I said, look, I get what you're saying. It's important to recognize, person of color and woman directing the horror movie with this much buzz around it. But this is not them doing it because she's a black woman director. This is just what they do. This is why Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas was a thing. This is why when Mama came out, they pushed the shit out of it as being directed by XYZ name you'd never heard of, but produced by Guillermo del Toro. Because they want to get you in the seat on his name. I think that guy who did Mama went on to direct It. So now they could get him the name attached to it, but they couldn't do it the first time because that wasn't what they thought would get people in seats. It's not necessarily for that reason, but yeah.
Also, I have no interest in this, by the way, but apparently the official Texas Chainsaw Massacre website is showing the poster our preview poster for the next movie, which, if the synopsis is right, we read last year. It's going to suck.
It's the third reboot of this franchise.
Everybody wants to dive into the origin. Okay, we don't need an origin tale at this point. Nobody wants to see that again.
That kid Leatherface movie where he goes to a fucking juvie home and breaks out. God damn it! God damn it, that's bad.
How that didn't kill the
was that the beginning or
no? It's just Leatherface. It's called.
Oh, that one, yeah, that one, yeah.
And
fuck
how
me,
that
was awful.
Didn't kill everything. I don't know. That was the worst. I will go ahead and say probably with a little budget behind it. Budget for budget, the worst horror movie I've ever seen. Budget for budget.
I kind of liked Texas Chainsaw 3D.
Okay, it had Alexander Daddario in it.
It had moments that were good.
But it made no effing sense.
It made no sense. Exactly. I will not deny that in the slightest. That movie made no fucking sense.
This movie should be taking place in the 90s. And they got smartphones out. Cop walking through the house with a smartphone out doing his thing. Supposed to be in the 90s.
In a Chrysler 500?
Yeah. It's just
Bill Moseley playing a different character than he was in the franchise.
How does this stuff get greenlit?
Because they think there's money.
You know, they almost made the same mistake with Halloween a while back. Like, I read an old script that was going to be a Halloween movie, and they almost made the same problem with it being a certain time and then still having technology from current time. You know, it's like, how this stuff gets by people, I don't know. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre, just like all the Friday the 13th movies that they can't get greenlit because nobody can agree on anything because everybody wants to dive back into the history and find the origin and the meaning and the reason, you don't need it.
We already have it.
Yes. You need Leatherface and his doggone redneck family eating people and killing people in the backwoods of Texas. That's all we need.
So the thing is, I don't disagree with you, but I have reached a point where I kind of understand it. And it's this. I've been watching like movie quizzes online and people talking about on Twitter. They'll talk about what they like and stuff. And I have seen more than once people saying that they don't watch old movies. Okay. And when they say old, they mean before 1990.
Look here. It's like
there's a lot of those people.
At this point, we don't need to see Batman get his parents killed every time there's a new Batman movie.
Right. That's the thing. What you're saying basically is you can have your reboot of the franchise, but the thing is, you don't need to tell us how he got his mask. You can just take it as writ that he's got the mask. You know, or take it as writ that they're a cannibal family, or take it as writ that Michael Myers is fucked in the head. You don't need to show us.
Well, in the original Halloween, we don't have to know why he's doing anything.
Right.
He's just crazy. He's doing what he's doing. Same thing with Black Christmas, the original Black Christmas. We don't know why he's doing what he's doing. We never figured it out. That's why that makes it even more creepier to me.
Yeah, usually.
You know. But now, Leatherface and that last movie, okay, they went so far above and beyond to make you think it was one character. You know, like, it was the perfect fit for it being that other character. And then ended up being another character. Which, don't worry if it's spoiling it for you. If you haven't seen it, it's not worth the hour and a half of your life you're going to waste watching it anyway. But I knew this movie was in trouble because as soon as it came out, I don't think it was a month and it was in the bargain bin.
Oh, yeah.
Within a month.
The thing is, whenever they do this, whenever they go, almost ever, where they go, here's the beginning, the origin story, it always ends the same. And I'll give you a really good example. I haven't seen it. I've heard god-awful things, and that is Hannibal Rising.
I've not seen it.
I have not seen it, but I have heard such terrible things. And the reason why, honestly, I don't even need to see it is this. If you pitch me, let's watch teenage Hannibal Lecter, fuck that. Yeah. I don't care about that. That's not what Silence of the Lambs is about. That's not what Hannibal Lecter's about.
Another thing that just hit me about this Leatherface movie that doesn't happen is that basically they tried to make the Devil's Rejects with Leatherface. Because you have a cop that's just like the cop in Devil's Rejects. You know. And it's just dumb. Very dumb.
Very, very dumb.
And I don't even think it was shot in Texas, by the way.
That wouldn't surprise me nowadays.
I think they shot it overseas somewhere.
That wouldn't surprise me nowadays. Most things like that aren't.
I think it was a part of the UK that they tried to make look like Texas. Yeah.
So.
Hate that movie.
I don't blame you. But yeah, like, I forget what it was. There was some movie that I was talking about, and somebody said that it was an old movie they'd watched, I don't remember what the movie was, but the movie was from 2002.
An old movie.
And that's what it is. I'm not going to say we're old. We're not old. But we do have to understand that we're not the only frame of...
Chuck's old.
I didn't say it.
Chuck's old.
No. Not necessarily. I'm not 40. I'm not 40.
He's not 40. I give him that. He's not.
Got a few years ago.
But yet, that's the thing, is we are a frame of reference. And our frame of reference is what it is. There's a group of people who like horror movies now. Their frame of reference is from, let's say, being born in 1996. And so when they were 10, you're talking 2006. And that's the movies they know. Now, we could get into an argument all day over whether or not they should be respecting the shit that came before it, whether they should be watching some of the old stuff, seeing how it was done back then. People are lazy.
I don't like people that don't like 80s horror movies.
I don't understand that.
To me, that's the prime time for horror.
It's the pinnacle of the genre.
Yeah.
And I've recently met people that, well, for one, they're not really movie buffs, but they have never seen a Friday the 13th movie. Can you imagine that? Living your life, never have seen a Friday the 13th movie. Never have seen a Halloween movie. Like, these are younger folks these days. What do they watch? They watch what? The Grudge, The Purge. Like their classics are like The Purge and It and stuff
there's
like
nothing.
that.
I have problems with It, but there's nothing wrong inherently with the It remake. You know,
I quite like it.
I like the first half of it. Not a fan of Chapter 2. I didn't think Chapter 2 did it.
Like, I'm not going to tell someone that's the one thing I will say is I'm not going to tell someone that they can't like a movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was listening to a podcast. I'm trying to kind of get into it. I've mentioned it to you guys. They're called Cinematic Void, and they do a stream every couple weeks that gets put up at like 12 midnight, stays up for 2 days. It's full of old ads and then some movie, but it's like usually fairly cult, fairly obscure, like Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, Octagon, what was it, the Massacre Video one that they did with Jack-O-Lantern, you know, Burial Ground. And, you know, they put them up. They also have a podcast. And I was listening to one of their Halloween episodes, and the guy starts talking, because they started talking about Halloween, because it's a whole, like, series of episodes about Halloween. He goes, I really like Halloween. So now we're going to talk about Halloween 2. But not the one you're thinking of. Not the one from 1982. And not the other one you're thinking of. Not the one from 2018. He's referring, of course, to the movie. And he starts talking about the sequel to Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 and says that he hated Halloween 1 and that he went out of his way to say he would never see it. And then he went and saw Sorority Row. And a few days later, someone goes, let's go watch a movie. And it was either seeing Sorority Row again or seeing Halloween 2 in theaters. And so rather than tell the guy he'd seen the remake, he said, let's go see Halloween 2. And he actually, quote, liked it. Now, he said there's problems with it, but he liked it. I could sit here and go, what the hell? No one likes Halloween 2. What the hell? It's such a horror. If he took something out of it, he took something out of it. You know, I mean, but give things a chance. You know,
sometimes
I know I just said
like...
that I'd never watch Hannibal Rising, but if the situation arose, I'd give it a chance.
I mean, let's be honest. For our generation, even though I got a couple of years on you guys, for our generation, our Universal monsters, our Frankenstein's monster and Dracula and all that, is Freddy, Michael, Jason, and Leatherface. That's our classic monsters. And we've reached the pinnacle of being
your phone's ringing.
Yeah, somebody else get it. We've reached the pinnacle.
Their calls are coming from inside the house.
Yeah, yeah. Of like when we were younger and we liked that stuff and people were telling us, well, you need to see Dracula and Wolfman and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The tables have now turned.
Yeah.
We may be old. We may officially be old. But I've yet to meet one person that likes that Leatherface movie. Not one person.
No, that's
all
the
going
thing.
back to Leatherface.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. That's why I mentioned I've never heard of a single person liking Hannibal Rising. Ever. I've heard of people.
I want to say Dead Rat liked that Hannibal or that Leatherface movie.
No, I refuse to believe it. Dead Rat say it ain't so. Say it ain't so.
You're gonna message him in the group chat right now and see if you can get him to say it right now, aren't you?
I am. I'm gonna tag him in it too.
I don't see how it could. How is it possible? Just comment below if you like this movie, and then let's try to figure out what your malfunction is. I like the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The Jessica Biel one, I didn't hate it.
I haven't watched it fully through yet, but when I saw
I didn't like the prequel to it though. I didn't care for the prequel to it.
That's one of those ones that's kind of like Leatherface that I've never heard of a single person who liked the beginning.
So to me, in my opinion, that remake's the only good. Since part 3, that's the only good Texas Chainsaw Massacre we've had. But I prefer part 2. Where's that? Where's more part 2?
Oh, part 2 is great. Part 2.
Yeah.
My wife and I saw that in 35 millimeters. She'd never seen a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie before, and yet it freaked her out, but she loved it.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw 3 is good.
It's good.
I didn't say it wasn't. I'm just saying Texas Chainsaw 3.
We're just throwing out the movies, so I'm just the franchise.
2 was the first one I ever seen when I was a kid. So
it took me decades to watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre because it was built up so much in my head. And I started to watch it. I just couldn't get into it. It was dull to me for like the first 15 minutes, and I just couldn't get into it. I owned it for years. I only just watched it like last year because Joe Bob did it as part of his original, as part of his Dinners of Death. I love it, but it took me forever. I had to force myself to watch it, basically. But it's worth watching. That's the thing. Like a lot of the stuff where it's like, I don't mind someone saying they don't want to see a movie. I mind when you say what some people do, which is, I don't want to watch any movies from the 80s. I don't want to see things from before the 90s. I haven't seen anything before the 90s. Expand your goddamn horizons. I just watched Blackula for the first time 2 days ago, and that is an amazing movie.
Fuck yes, it is.
I'm just saying. And it is on paper, it shouldn't work. Because if you know about Blackenstein's weird. Like as a blaxploitation horror movie. If you know about Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde, kind of goofy. Blackula's pretty damn straight, has a lot of subtext to it. Really well done.
Yeah.
Now you got to get Scream Black You Scream.
I have that. I haven't watched it yet, though.
I have. I think I have these. I don't know. I know I've got the Scream Factory one.
That's the one. Scream Factory.
I don't have that, and it's out of print.
The DVD set. Yeah. Pissed me off after I watched it. Because I wanted to get it.
Did Severin release a Blackula movie?
Blackenstein.
Oh.
Blackenstein, yeah. Which I'm going to get a Black Friday because I don't have that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
How bad do you want?
How many phone bills do you want to pay for it?
Well, considering it's going to be real cheap on Black Friday, not much, Chuck.
Yeah, as I say, you're gonna have to you're gonna have to fight Severin on that deal.
I have to make profits, or don't do me any good.
You've got other things I want. I've already specified.
Yeah, we'll see.
It did not debut straight to DirecTV, Dance Commander.
It did.
It did.
I'm amazed by that.
It did because it was so awful that they wouldn't put it in theaters.
I could have sworn that I remember seeing it go to theaters. I'm amazed by that.
The company seen it and was like, we're not going to put that out.
That's, wow.
Now, the one that they're making now, isn't this the one that they already had to fire the director?
I'm pretty sure.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I've not, the only thing I know about this is what
you
you guys have told me, because I have zero fucking interest in it, that when I see a headline for it, I scroll past it.
I think, not that this is going to be a reason for you to see it, although it might actually be, I think Fede Alvarez is supposed to be involved in it.
Well, he already had to get rid of somebody.
I'm checking on that.
Look here, Fede Alvarez, I got a bone to pick with him too. Because he hasn't made
maybe not, because I only got a few of his results here. But, yeah.
Where's the other Evil Dead movie?
Evil Dead remake was great.
Yeah.
I got problems with it, but it's fine.
Now what's coming out now? Evil Dead Rise? Whatever that is?
Whatever it comes.
Yeah. Sounds like Demons 2.
Yeah.
What it sounds like.
Well, yeah. I don't really have much else in terms of news just because most stuff, that was the big thing is Cauldron. As we record this, the Criterion one-day flash 50% off sale is over, but don't forget that Barnes & Noble will have their own one in November. They always do. Mono Macabro's getting ready to do their sale next week. They still haven't announced their third movie yet, but they've started posting pictures, talked about the special features on their Blood Ceremony and their other movie. I can't remember the name off the top of my head right now.
Sweet new Vinegar Syndrome shirt.
Yes, yeah. that is one thing. Yes.
Right, so we ain't going to talk about the.
Well, I was about to say that one thing is what's up.
Oh, But I talk about the giant Wrong Turn collection coming from the UK. I think.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say there is one thing I forgot to do. I was going to say, and I was just thinking of it and slipped my mind, which is we led into this last week, and Chuck went down a list and explained every single thing wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the following day after we recorded it is when Scream Factory said, "So here's how to fix your discs." So you Google online, you can find at least 3 things that Scream Factory seems to be saying are generalized issues with the set. Even though people are claiming there's a butt-ton more of them, Scream Factory is offering replacements for 3 discs.
I'll put a link in the description for that.
Yes.
I've seen people threaten to burn their collections.
I hope they do.
Me too. Because
I want to see it. I want video of that just so I can comment and make fun of them. Because then they're at $130, $150.
That they already gave to Scream Factory.
When do you think that one website will screw up and try to sell the set for $20 again? The one, like the one that sold the Halloween one. That was Turner, wasn't it? Turner.com.
TCM did it with Ghostbusters. TCM did it with Ghostbusters.
They did it with Halloween, the Halloween box set.
They canceled a bunch of those orders, and some of them went through.
Yeah.
I had 2 different orders in 2 different areas and still didn't get it. And the Dead Pit guys both got it.
Of course they did.
Sure yeah, man.
We'll pay $20 for this. I also learned, and Matt can speak to this, that Amazon is not the only person who will send you something in a bubble mailer. Because I was getting Avatar: The Last Airbender Blu-ray set for my wife, and the pricing on Amazon was garbage, and pricing in Target in-store was garbage, but Walmart had a good price.
Ooh.
So I ordered that, and then for myself with it to kind of get free shipping, I got Twilight Zone CBS All Access version on DVD. Not only did they ship them in bubble mailer, they shipped them in separate bubble mailers that arrived at the same time. So the Twilight Zone one of the discs popped out of its spindle. Looks okay, should be fine, but also has cracking like on one of the edges. And the Avatar came through fine, but I'm just like, have we really not reached the point where people don't understand you don't put a Blu-ray or a DVD in a bubble mailer? Like, I don't mind, but there are people who go batshit for that. You know?
How was that? How was that Twilight Zone?
I've seen like the first 4 episodes of it.
What are you talking about? The Blu-ray set?
I bought the DVD set of it, but
the classic or
no, the new one, the Jordan Peele.
It's okay. It's hit and miss.
Yeah.
Dance Commander says it's good. I just signed up for CBS All Access to watch Champions League Soccer, so
it's worth it.
I have it on demand now, so I'm gonna watch it.
It's worth it.
I don't know if the DVD version is like this, but the Blu-ray version has the option to watch all the episodes in black and white.
I'm not sure if it does. I do know that it has like it sure looked like it had all the special features that the Blu-ray had. That may not be one it has. But
it should be because that's an awesome feature.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But I think it does, but I'm not sure. But I will say that looking at it, everything else is there, and that includes like around the time they did that set, they also did a special thing in theater my wife and I went to where they aired 5 original episodes of Twilight Zone from back when. Monsters Are on Maple Street, Time Enough at Last, The Invaders, I think, and a couple other ones, as well as a like 60-minute documentary about Rod Serling, and that documentary is on the set. And it's actually really, really good. It has a lot of good Rod Serling footage in it and quotes of him about the way he thought and the way he wrote. But like I liked the Comedian, although I think it could have been better, which is the one that everybody talks about a lot, where Tracy Morgan's in it and he's talking with a stand-up comic played by Camille Nanjiani, I think it is. I liked the Invader, I think one is what it's called. It's the one with Stephen Yeun as a guy who gets put into a prison in the middle of Alaska and the chaos that ensues because of it. But the thing that actually sold me on it, even though I haven't seen the whole season, is the remake they did and the turn they did on the Nightmare at 3,000 Feet is really interesting. Like the way they took it, the direction they took it is very different than the original, even though it is still in the same kind of area. It is a very unique idea on it.
Yeah, if you like anthology shows, and I love them, I would actually recommend the Creep Show series.
I need to get to watch that at Shudder at some point.
It's hit and miss, but there's more hit than miss, I think.
And season 2 is coming out soon, or should already be up
Yeah.
soon.
You get that nice bone dark slipcover with it.
All
I'll
right,
get
so
around to that at some point.
Dead Rat says that that's the only Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie he doesn't like. He only saw it once and doesn't really remember it, but he just remembers not liking it.
There you go. There you go. The world.
But he does own it on DVD and Blu-ray.
Completionism.
I have it on Blu-ray, but I didn't pay for it, so.
Completionism is a motherfucker.
I think I still need. I think the only Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie on Blu-ray that I need to get that I don't have is the beginning or whatever, the sequel to the remake or the prequel to the remake. That's the only one I need to get on Blu-ray.
We'll talk about it also, but I think we don't talk about it much, but is it just me or is there a lot of stuff that just kind of seems to be vanishing as well? Like, we'll get into it a little bit next episode, but I just watched May a couple days ago, and May, I think you can probably still buy it on DVD, maybe, but it's pretty much gone from any form of thing. All the Peter Jackson movies are still supposed to be in 4K restoration right now, so you can't get those easily for the, bad taste, Meet the Peoples, Brain
That's
Dead,
got to be
anything
coming
like
from
that.
Arrow.
You'd hope. Arrow, Scream Factory, hell, Vinegar Syndrome's a possibility since they're doing Beastmaster.
It is a possibility, yeah. I mean, that's a pretty big score for them Beastmasters.
That would be huge if they did.
When's that come out?
Beastmaster is supposed to come out around Black Friday. That was the thing, it was a Black Friday release.
Yeah, it probably was.
Yeah. So you
I
pre-ordered
want
it.
I was talking about it at work like 2 days ago.
Yeah, you pre-ordered it basically. It's a pre-order to prevent people from slamming them for it on Black Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I am just really interested in Fade to Black and want to know what their other things are.
I'm assuming the Fade to Black transfer, same thing. It's on Shudder.
If I would imagine that's why they even have it.
Probably.
Well, I'm sure it looks good. I haven't watched it, but I haven't really seen too many Vinegar Syndrome Blu-rays that don't look good.
I've never seen Fade to Black.
They're too good with that. They're good at that.
It's long, but it's decent.
I haven't watched all the Vinegar Syndrome films that I got from the mid-year sale yet.
That's not surprising.
I've got something I've got to watch that
I know Severin's going to have their Black Friday sale, and I legitimately just fucking got all of my Severin stuff, and they're already going to have another goddamn sale.
You'll get it by March.
Yeah. Like, I'm planning to get some stuff from Vinegar Syndrome, not a lot. The Forgotten Jolly 1, maybe 2, and Fade to Black, and maybe Uninvited. The killer possessing cat movie, because it's fucking batshit.
I want to get some of the newer Vinegar Syndrome titles that weren't included in the last sale, like Pale Blood.
Sure. Yeah, some of those.
Because those should all be on sale. Otherwise, I can hold off because there's still like 500 plus of them.
My assumption on Severin's sale is that, unless I'm mistaken, most of the stuff that's going to be put out is not something I'm going to be like, I need to have this now. Like, I'm expecting Alex de la Iglesias, so they're going to have Day of the Beast and Perdita Durango. I'm expecting Theater Bazaar and their documentary about anthology films. None of those, as much as I like Theater Bazaar, not great, but I like it, and as much as I'm interested in Day of the Beast, I don't need a slipcover for it. I don't need to have it today, I'll probably buy Jaws 5 during their Black Friday sale. That would be probably the only thing I would consider, Jaws 5 and a copy of the book. But it won't be on sale, I know it, but that'd be about the only thing.
Yeah.
Well,
this concludes another episode of the Exorcast.
It does indeed.
We have finished our reflections, and I am sorry for that.
we have went on a rant.
Us? No, that doesn't happen.
Please, who do you think we are? Dead air?
At least ours mostly stays on topic, right?
See, that's the thing. Anybody who complains about how long our episodes are, they could be 4 times longer.
They could be.
Well, old Exorcast stuff was 2 hours, so.
Then twice as long.
Of course, we did more than one movie per show.
Yeah,
yes, that is
true.
Like we were doing
4.
5 back then and 4, and sometimes even more than that.
Yeah. Ooh. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Tell Chuck to shut up on Twitter. I haven't been on Twitter in like 3 weeks.
Nobody does Twitter.
Except to accidentally post about Manchester United on the Extracast page.
Priorities.
They did it once.
In case there was any confusion on who's running the Extracast Twitter.
Yeah. Oh, wait. We have a question, don't we? Hey,
There's a
Chuck.
question. Yes.
Where's the audio?
Yeah, I said Halloween.
No,
Still
you didn't.
progressing good, though? Still progressing?
Oh, yes. It's going to be
Well,
up there.
I've got 8 more shows to send you. 9 more shows.
Yeah.
8 more shows to send you.
Yeah, we'll get them. Halloween.
Okay.
Okay.
So, on Halloween, look for audio versions of all of these shows, except for maybe the last handful, on all major podcast platforms.
And if you don't
at
see
least
them,
on my website, at least.
and if you don't see them,
Yeah.
you can always hashtag it somehow.
Well, we're going to have an archive page where it's going to be all Extracast episodes. Every time there is one audio form, it will go up on it.
Okay.
That's not what the people want, Chuck.
What do they want? What do they want?
Spotify.
They want it on Spotify and Apple Podcast.
We'll get it there. We'll work on it.
We'll figure it out.
It'll happen. I got confidence.
And until next time.